afternoon, and welcome to this October 31st City Council Halloween work session. You will notice that we have an adjustment to the schedule today, so we are going to begin with a conversation about proposed partnership on a shelter out at Highway 99 site, and so we'll begin with that. And so my apologies to the Human Rights Commission and the Police Commission that we're going to hopefully cover your issue in the second half of this meeting and devote the first half of this meeting to this conversation. And so with that, and we have Councilor Clark is on the phone, I believe. He hasn't called in yet? Okay. He will call in, and I guess that's who we've got. Okay.
And I think Councilor Evans is scheduled to be here, I believe.
Okay, Councilor Evans will be here.
You can move forward, but you can't start the meeting. Did you start the meeting?
I did start the meeting.
Why don't we gavel out of the meeting until you have quorum, and no decisions can be made until we have quorum.
All right, we're officially gavelled out, and so we'll begin our conversation, and hopefully we will have... that sounds promising.
Hello there.
Hi, welcome, Mike. Glad you're online here. So now can I gavel in? Do I now have a quorum with Mike?
Yes.
Oh, so I can gavel back in. Thank you so much for calling in.
Yes.
Give me a hammer. Okay, I'm turning it over to you, Manager.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for just a flexibility on the council's part. I'm just going to spend just a brief moment introducing this topic, and then we can sure answer questions that any of you might have. You might know, and you do know, that the city, we've been moving ahead on planning for a dusk to dawn and day center site on the City Hall block as per your current direction to us, and so we've been working hard at trying to set that up and get that moving. And then over the weekend, and partly as part of a response to the butterfly lot camping, the county opened up a site out on a piece of property on Highway 99 that they recently acquired, and through the combined efforts of the city and the county, were able to move many or most of the campers from the butterfly lot out onto that particular site. The day before yesterday, Steve Mokrahysky stopped by and set out an idea of could we pool resources and actually develop the site out there, and as opposed to continuing on the City Hall block site. The concept would be to be able to provide shelter for over twice the number of people that we could in on the City Hall block, which I think could be a real positive. Also, what he talked about was being able to keep that site open until a site for a public shelter was found, which I think also is real positive. What that really would mean is our site has always been intended to be temporary and would be able to move when we found a more permanent site, as opposed to on the City Hall block. The Highway 99 site actually provides sort of that semi-permanence, only in the sense that it could remain open for a much longer period of time than what we would have had at the City Hall block. So I think that's also a real positive as well. It also is adjacent to the Lindholm Center operated by St. Vincent de Paul, which we think also is a value. And as you know, one of the things that would be important in that site, as in any site, is to work with not only the campers and the people that are on the site, but also various service providers to provide some of that wraparound service that supportive services that we all know is so critical in these situations wherever people happen to reside at the time. And so it provides a nice gateway to that as well. And so for those particular reasons, accommodate many more people, potentially a much longer access to the site, as well as the access to wraparound services. Our suggestion would be is to redirect our efforts out into that and continue to work with the county to make that real successful.
Okay, thank you. Do I have comments? Claire, take it away.
Thank you. Well, first, I think it's important to acknowledge that these developments of both the city and the county looking for alternative sites were prompted in large part by the mandate from the Ninth Circuit Court that governments provide shelter for people if those jurisdictions want to enforce anti-camping laws. And I want to thank Commissioner Farr in particular for the work he's done in the last couple of days, and he's reached out to me a couple of times about the Highway 99 site because it straddles my ward and Councilor Evans' ward. And I also want to thank the city manager and his staff for working together with the county to look at this alternative site. I think regardless of whether the city was looking at a downtown site, this additional site on Highway 99 is, I think, a very good alternative and a needed space. It's heartening to see that folks who were camped out across the street from this building appear to have all relocated there, so they are in a safe circumstance. They've got sanitation. It's a much better situation for all concerned. So I support this effort and also agree that part of the reason I think it's preferable is because it's placing folks very near to the day center run by St. Vincent de Paul, which provides laundry, showers, meals, job counseling, and connection to other important services. So there is concern about concentration of folks in one location. This particular location is not adjacent immediately to any residential areas, but nonetheless, having several hundred people receiving services in a concentrated location can cause disruption to local business, and so we need to be ready to mitigate that. And we received an email, I think last week, about a jurisdictional transfer of Highway 99 being imminent, if not already occurred, to bring that into the city's jurisdiction. And so I would like to advocate if we are able to consider putting up, even if it's one of our quick, easy, cheap versions of a pedestrian crossing so folks can cross that highway more safely and it's safer for vehicles traveling down as well. So I think this is a very positive development, and I really want to thank the county for stepping up and finding this location. You know, for years, people have come to the city asking for action. Our availability of city-owned lots is very small, and having the county step up and offer this property is a very positive development.
Great. Emily?
Thank you. This has been extremely difficult for me, and I'm very conflicted about it. Of course, I'm thrilled about both the City Hall site and the county site, and to have them both come so quickly has been overwhelming for everybody, and we've barely had a week to think about it. So I'd like to partner. I'd like to get more things going out there at 99. It will serve more people. However, not everybody from downtown is going to the 99 site. I have done my walk-arounds, and people are still here. This morning at 6:30, just straight down the sidewalk, I counted 9 people sleeping, and while the camp was open, I had counted 3 and 0. So that implies to me that people sleeping downtown would go to another site to sleep. But I don't believe they'll all go to 99, even if we give them a bus ride. So that leaves them still here, and if we don't have a site here, nothing will change downtown, I believe, even though it looks like it could. I don't want to abandon this. I worked really hard for it. I've told people that I am committed to helping both the businesses and the homeless downtown. And although I think the businesses will be happy for some moments, I do not think that this is going to solve our problem. So I have a motion if we get to it. I want to support both. I cannot give up a downtown center somewhere near the core and have problems solved this winter. There will people still be on the sidewalk. Chief Skinner has supported a downtown day center from the beginning. I know Betty does. She can't be here today because we're not supposed to meet on the 5th Wednesday. It says so in the papers. And she made plans to be away. But she's even more of an advocate for a downtown center than I am. So I miss her presence very much. The services that will be offered at the 99 site were also planned to be at the City Hall site. That was one of those shipping containers, was totally for services. So I'm going to reject that argument. The bridge dollars, the 18 months of bridge dollars, if this all goes out to 99, I've got a year and a half with nothing money-wise and place-wise. Regardless, we still need bathrooms and smoking downtown, and we need places to sit. Got to email, the best thing to do is eliminate all places to sit downtown. This kind of stuff isn't okay. Thanks.
Jennifer.
Yeah, City Manager, I wonder if you could talk a little bit about the differences between the day center that will be available on 99 and the one we were talking about downtown, because the downtown one was going to be a low barrier. Is that the same?
Yes, and so what's out on 99 and would continue to be 99 is low barrier, meaning that people can show up in any numbers of conditions and they would be accepted. What happens, so for example, in their current dusk to dawn, and it really occurs on our rest stops as well, there are certain behaviors that if somebody exhibits those behaviors within the site, they can be asked to leave at that point.
And it's my understanding that the city is still looking for opportunities downtown. I wonder if you could.
Yeah, so one of the things that I think is still important, and Emily alluded to this, which we also would support, is a day center for, or a place that people could still go during the day, and for any numbers of reasons and things. We still think that's important, so people could, to be in a place during the day, in and around the downtown. And so we would support wanting to continue to look for that kind of a spot somewhere.
And do we have any idea what the timeline is on that? How do we?
The day center piece? I think what we would be doing is looking for spaces as we all know all these things are difficult to sort of come together, and also just location is always matters. But I think we can we'll want to continue to look for those in a really urgent way.
So we're still kind of at the beginning stages is what I'm hearing.
I wouldn't say at the beginning stages, because what we do know, we've actually learned a lot over the last couple of weeks in sort of what is needed in sort of day centers, whether it's, even in a day center, not just overnight, but you need some sanitation, you need restrooms, you need some of those kinds of things that are important. So we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot about how some of those things could actually be set up and numbers and things like that. So I think we've learned a lot, so I wouldn't call it at ground zero.
So I have to agree with Emily. It's really hard to give up, what was, I think, would have been a great, downtown day center, dusk to dawn situation down in our core. But it's really hard to not agree with the fact that pooling resources is always a positive. And being able to get more space for more people by doing that, I think, really outweighs what we'll be losing downtown as long as we keep continuing to look for that downtown center in our core. So I'm willing to support this as it.
Alan.
Yeah, I too like this idea. I want to thank the county, especially Councilor Farr, for stepping up and partnering and pooling resources. I think we end up with a better solution. I'd also like to thank the city manager and the staff for working hard to make this happen. Sometimes you get the ball rolling and it morphs, and we have to be nimble, and often we end up in a better place than where we started. So I like this. I don't want to be redundant of Claire. You said it so well and so eloquently, so all the things that you said. I too share your concern about the concentration of people. One of the lessons learned about what we've done and what we've gone through over the last several years is that when you have that many people together, and a lot of them with alcohol issues or mental health issues and other kinds of issues, the increased potential for problems. So I'd like you to answer that question about how we can deal with that. I do think we need a day center downtown, so we need to work on that. I agree with that. And then finally, so what's the timeline for that project out across from the Lindholm Center, and how do you have a sense of design yet? How's that going to work?
Well, I think there are already people out there across from the Lindholm Center. And Emily, you might know more than I. 101 maybe.
102 last I heard.
So I mean, there's so in a sense, it's already operating out there. And what we would do if the council gives us the direction to move in that direction, we would immediately sit down with the county as well as the people that are already on the site that are helping with the site right there, and St. Vincent de Paul and others, and say, okay, what's the best way to manage this? I think we also have some experience with this as well. You know, St. Vincent de Paul does manage a dusk to dawn site, which accommodates a similar number, or I think it's been 80 or 90. And so they have a lot of experience with this as well, in being successful with larger groups. And from our perspective, I think it's always challenging for them, but we aren't responding out into that area from a public safety perspective, and so they've learned how to well manage some of these as well. And so this isn't brand new. We actually have some experience in doing this, and we'll work with all of those partners to try to figure out what's the best way to manage this one as well. So I think the timeline is it's an evolving timeline. There's already people that are benefiting from it now, and so we will just continue to improve that as we go, to include any infrastructures that we might want to agree to put on there. That could be tents and all those kinds of things too. So,
yeah, I think Claire's idea of some kind of crosswalk there is a good idea, because the Lindholm Center is
we're looking at that as well. We all recognize that as a public safety issue, not only for the people at the camps, but for people driving in that corridor as well. So we understand that. And we did sign the jurisdictional transfer very recently, and so we do have much more control over that stretch of road. So the timing actually is really good from that perspective as well.
And have we talked to St. Vincent de Paul? The Lindholm Center is a great facility, but it's limited in size and its capacity, and this adds a lot of people. Have we talked to St. Vinny and talked to them about capacity issues and getting overwhelmed?
We've had some conversations with them, and they're very conscious of that as well as we are. And so when we talk about the ability to pool resources, we will need to invest in this site. Some of it could be hardscape, like a tent. Some of it we would want to also invest in things like additional capacity for St. Vincent de Paul, or there could be other providers that also may support the site as well. And so we would be looking to do those for sure. So more of that's going to be needed, and so we'll have to invest in some of that as well.
Yeah. A lot of folks have talked about solving the homelessness problem, and this doesn't do that. So they're not in favor of it. And I think that's kind of a wrong way to think about it. I think that there are many things that we need to do in order to chip away at this. This isn't going to be something that we do all of a sudden, and this is baked for decades. And so little things like this and multitude of these things are going to be how we end up solving the homelessness problem. And so I think over time we'll get there. I'm real excited about the stuff that we're doing with the TAC team, and that seems to move the dial for me. That seemed very different in that it had a real decrease in the amount of homelessness that we'd see over the next couple of years. So I think we're on the right track, and we just need to do it. And we need to do it professionally. We need to do it so it's attractive. We need to do it so it's sanitary and clean and orderly, and make sure that that's the top of our mind when we do all this stuff.
Okay. Councilor Evans, any comments?
No, I caught the end of Councilor Syred's remarks when I came in, and I concur. I think that the collaboration between us and the county at the 99 site is a good move for us. I do think that we need a day shelter or a day center downtown to help those folks who are still in that downtown area and are needing services and support. Point out again that this is a temporary situation, and that do we have a date certain when we would be moving out of this situation in the spring? Is it March,
Along
April?
the Highway 99?
Along Highway 99.
What they've proposed is actually when we were able to find a permanent site for a public shelter or site for a public shelter, this would stay in existence. And so the good news about that is I also think it provides some urgency to that conversation of going out and finding that site for that public shelter. And so there isn't a date set. That's the date that we talk about. And so it can be actually a pretty smooth transition.
And where have we identified resources out of the budget to support this?
There's a couple of different places. As part of the bridge, $8.6 million, there's some day center money in there, and there was money to expand the already existing Dusk to Dawn site. And so any new infrastructure that we would be purchasing, and we will, and we have purchased some infrastructure, would be different dollars. And so when we come back on supplemental budget 2, that may be a part of that. There's also some dollars. I know when the chief went out and acquired the trailers, and I think this is the right line item, there's some additional dollars in there that's available, and so we'd be able to use some of those as well. So.
Would some of the Comcast money be part of that?
The Comcast money kind of gets put into that big pool of marginal beginning working capital, and so if we end up using some of that for this kind of a project, it's all a part of that pool of dollars.
Did we lose Mike Clark? Counselor?
It's okay because we gained Counselor Evans.
Right. It's okay. I was regretting that I hadn't given him a chance to speak. It actually was my concern. But yeah, so I'm assuming is he off as far as you can tell? Yeah. Okay. I have second round. I just want to jump in for a minute and make sure I understand all these pieces. So the new site at Highway 99 would have some day center connection to services, some of the elements that we were proposing for the City Hall site. So that would stay intact, more or less. I mean, some version of that.
Yeah, so I think the answer is yes. Day center facilities would be there. The combination of on the site and in the Lindholm Center increased capacity would provide.
Okay, great. And then just a clarification on the budget question and Emily's concerns about Ward 1 downtown not getting sort of some of that 8.6 million. That it sounds like there still is capacity for a day center downtown that would still figure into that funding.
The 8.6 million included day center dollars, and so a day center downtown presumably would use those dollars for that.
Okay, all right, that is helpful. I think it's a really exciting, fast-moving picture, but great to be on board with it. So I have Councilor Sirett for a second one, and then Councilor Semple.
Great. Well, so I just want to clarify, John, you said we are not responding to public safety calls out at the Dusk Till Dawn on Highway 99, and that is because they are not generating calls
right.
to the police department.
Yes, thank you for that clarification.
I think that's an important detail. So I definitely appreciate Councilor Semple's position about wanting to maintain to start and then maintain some services downtown that are lacking right now. And so I actually think a day center would make sense. And but I think we might need to pick and choose. I don't know that we could do both sites, day center and overnight shelter, as together with the resources that we have. So I would hope that the idea of directing the city manager to pursue and find an appropriate day center location, within some time frame, would be a motion that I would support. I think we do need to be mindful that our service providers don't have unlimited resources to serve multiple sites throughout the city. So that does become a logistical challenge and resource challenge for them. We currently have our community court downtown, and service providers provide staff for that court to help connect participants in that court to social services. One of the critiques we got of our downtown site plan was that we weren't providing showers, something I think that would be very difficult logistically to do on the downtown site. Those can be provided at the Lindholm Center across the street from the Highway 99 location, as will laundry facilities. They also serve, I understand, 3 meals a day. And social service providers are there already. So I think there's a lot of enhancement that's provided at that site, even though it's not necessarily the centralized location that some of the folks without shelter are preferring right now, which some of them are preferring to be downtown. And then I think it's important that detail that the county is actually proposing that they would be willing, with our help, to keep this site open on an ongoing basis until we were able to build a permanent, low-barrier, publicly funded shelter. And we hadn't had that concept available before yesterday. So I think so it is temporary, but not temporary necessarily in the sense of several months. It might be multiple months until we actually relocate it, but I think it would be a real demonstration of our commitment to getting that building up and open and folks housed.
Thank you. Emily.
Thank you. A couple points, and then I'd like to make this motion. I also think we need showers, and there are shower trucks that could come to the City Hall site. I know Dusk to Dawn is opening tomorrow, I think, and we've got 100 people here, and we already know Dusk to Dawn will fill up. So both of these sites will be full, and anybody who is then camping somewhere else, it would come under the possible Ninth Circuit restriction. So thinking that this will remove that, I don't believe it's true. So the motion I am making is, in lieu of Council's October 22nd motion, I move to direct the city manager to work with Lane County and other service providers to enhance the case management and other services that are provided to the homeless on Lane County's property and on nearby properties, and to move forward with piloting a day center in the downtown area.
You have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Opposed? None. So it passes. Thank you very much. I'm grateful to everyone for their really good work and fast work. Appreciate Commissioner Farr and the county stepping forward with this. Very exciting, and I think it does put us in a position moving forward on the tax study and the permanent shelter. So, and it's, the winter rains have just come, and we have a new, robust, much more robust solution for keeping people safe. So thank you all very, very much. And now we are ready for a shift, well, not too big a shift, to the Human Rights Commission report.
And Katie, I'll let you take it away whenever you're ready.
I just want to, I actually wanted to introduce and thank you for doing this report. So I very much appreciate this particular week to hear from the Human Rights Commission. And not only have we made an important local decision around how we're addressing homelessness, but we have had a week of violence in our nation, both in grocery store shooting of Black citizens and then a sad, really murder of 11 worshipers in a synagogue. And I think recognizing that we have our work cut out for us as a nation, and the fact that you all are representing incredible local work that we do on behalf of people who are part of our community. So thank you very much. I really appreciate this report and look forward to hearing it.
Thank you, Mayor Venice. And I know all people are very grateful for you at being available to represent the community and respond in acts as tragic as have been happening. So this afternoon, I want to thank the mayor and all city councilors for taking the time to hear from the Human Rights Commission today. My name is Katie Babbitts. I'm a human rights and equity analyst for the city, and I also provide staff support to the Human Rights Commission. And I've had the pleasure of working with the Human Rights Commission on compiling their annual work plan, as well as a report that reviews the work they did in the prior year. And I am joined by Commissioner Ella Kubak, who will be going over both the work plan report from 2018 as well as the work plan for 2019. You have both documents with your AIS today. And then following the overview, we welcome any comments and questions that you all may have. Boards and commissions play a critical role in the city of Eugene in being able to contribute the voice of community members as issues arise and continue to arise. And we are grateful that our volunteer commissioners put in so many hours of hard work and will continue to do so in the coming year. The HRC hopes to continue to identify ways to be a resource for City Council. And City Council and the HRC have goals that align with one another, and the Human Rights Commission has been successful in being able to promote human rights within Eugene. I will hand it over to Ella Kubak to tell you about the work that's been done and they plan to do.
So good afternoon, Mayor Venice and City Councilors. Again, my name is Ella Kubak, and I'm a Human Rights Commissioner, and I'm representing our chair, Joel, who couldn't be here today, so he sends his best regards. The HRC has been very busy in the last fiscal year and has contributed just hundreds of hours, not only in volunteering and community events, but also supporting a lot of local activism around human rights and hosting, attending community events. We've also provided input to this council on human rights issues and social justice issues. And we continue and have been engaging in all kinds of collaborative work with other boards and commissions that the city has, as well as city staff and our community partners. So in the materials that have been provided to you, I just wanted to highlight a couple of things that the 2018 work plan report brought to our community. So the HRC collaborated with the Sustainability Commission to urge the City Council support for the Declaration on Human Rights and Climate Change, and that was a very exciting moment for us. The WECU work group hosted the International Human Rights Day celebration. So in December, December 10th, it's the International Human Rights Day, and each year the HRC does a community event that brings folks that represent all the cultures and diversity within our community to celebrate the Universal Declaration on Human Rights. We've also brought many timely matters to the council. One example is the funding that you approved last fall for the DACA recipients and their support. We also have a very active homelessness and poverty work group that coordinated a series of movie showings and panel discussions for our community in community centers. And these showings happened in September and in June this year. And the movie had over 400 folks in their audience across all those showings. So it was called Under the Bridge. It's a very, complementary to our discussion earlier today, very important community issue that they keep on working on. And if you reach down to your report, you'll see a longer list of all types of events and sponsorships that we've had over the last 12 months. So I encourage you to do so. I wanted to also point out a few items for your interest in our current new 2019 work plan. So we've took a very deep and honest look at what are we capable and what's the capacity within the commission to do in the next following year, and decided on 4 different topic areas. The whole Eugene Community United work group will continue their work on issues impacting marginalized communities, and you've earlier this fall received a report from that group, so they have a very robust work plan. We'll continue to bring your attention to human rights issues through different education outreach and public engagement opportunities within our community. We'll keep timely human rights issues pulse on how we can better advise the City Council on human rights issues. And we'll continue to work on the housing and homelessness strategies in order to help find better solutions in our community. So those are the kind of big four themes. We are also partnering and representing the HRC on various boards, and you'll find a list of all the different boards and action groups that our commissioners are involved in. A couple to mention are Amy Walsh will represent the HRC on housing tools and strategies. Commissioner Ib Hamid will represent the HRC on the Housing Policy Board, and those are all very important issues for our commission. And myself, I will join the MAPT Review Board. So you, again, have a long list of all those different activities we're involved in, but those are some worth mentioning. This year, it's actually the 70th anniversary of the International Human Rights Day, and we're already planning a big celebration on December 9th in the Churchill area high school. Our work group that focuses on poverty and homelessness is working to bring another movie series to the community, and more information will be shared with the community about that later this year. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to also thank our council liaison, Councilor Semple, because she is our connection to you, and she's been very helpful in explaining how we as a commission can provide you with better feedback and better ways to work together. So we look forward to working with her on this upcoming work plan. And I also wanted to thank the city staff that helps us, and especially Katie, because it's a board of volunteers who are very passionate about human rights. City of Eugene is a human rights city, which is very exceptional. And we want to make sure that we're very proactive in our response to the issues that come to our community. So without the city staff support, we wouldn't be able to do so as volunteers. This is all I've had for you today, so if you have any questions right now, we'd be happy to go through the work plan in more detail.
Thank you very much. Any comments, Emily, Claire? Take it away.
Thank you very much for that report. It was accurate and quick. I appreciate that. I really have come to enjoy my work with the Human Rights Commission, and I'm just blown away by the amount of work each individual commissioner is willing to do. The Marginalized Voices report is one example of an enormous amount of effort. So I appreciate and congratulate the commission on those successes. Unfortunately, Katie's moving on to another job. Tears. She has just been an excellent city liaison, and I always make sure I sit next to her. So I'm going to miss her a lot. Thank you for your work, and thank you to the whole commission.
Claire.
Yes, I concur with Councilor Semple's comments. Thank you very much for the report and for the incredible hard work that I know the commission does and individuals on the commission carry out. It's a lot of volunteer time, but it is critically important, and I think, you know, the mayor spoke to that in introducing this topic, and I think we lean on our Human Rights Commission, you know, during these stressful moments, and really look to the leadership of our commissioners to help us kind of work through some of these challenging issues of hate and bias in our community that are very difficult to face and confront, but must be confronted. So thank you for that, and thank you for pointing out the value of the city resources that go to the commission. Having dedicated staff working with a commission on this level of work and this breadth of work is very important, and it's important for us as a council to remember that. So when it comes to budget time, we're making sure our commissions have the resources they need to be effective in the way that we hope they will be. And then just a practical note, I really appreciate the grid on the liaisons to other boards and commissions and programs. It's very helpful to be able to look in there and see who a particular commission is, who's working with a particular board or commission, if we needed to do some work or advocacy related to that. So thanks for that small detail.
Alan.
Yeah, thank you very much for this. All the people that work on the Human Rights Commission, hopefully you'll express, I think I can speak to the whole council, this big thank you for all the work that you guys do over the year. And keep up the good work. Unfortunately, we still need you, and it seems like you become more and more important every day, which is not the way I thought the world was supposed to work, but that's the way it is in these days. So we definitely need this kind of work to keep going in the community. I also I actually brought the Marginalized Voices because I thought it was such a good piece of work, and I would commend it to anybody who wants to know what's going on in this community about with people of color and other times LGBTQ communities. So that's a great piece of work among all the work that you all do. And then finally, on the work plan, I really like the way that it's laid out. I think that it's very helpful. I like the matrix. I like the way that the objectives and goals are set out and how they've got sub goals to them. Who's working on them? I think it's a good model for other folks to emulate on boards and commissions. It is very easy to read, capture everything, and it's not really, really long. So it works well for what its intended purpose is. And I'll say this again because I've said it a million times. I want to be consistent. We need to hear more from our boards and commissions on a regular basis, not just once a year when they bring their work plans to us, but we need to be able to talk to them on a regular basis, even if it's just 15 minutes every once in a while. And maybe we do 45 minutes where we have 3 different commissions, boom, 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 but it's important for us to exchange information and talk, even if it's just for a short period of time on a more regular basis.
Other comments? Greg.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate the report and the marginalized voices report as well. And Katie, you will be missed. I know you're going somewhere that's a lot sunnier than here. But a couple things that I want to point out, given the current atmosphere that we have on the national level and the things that have happened over the last week, both in Louisville, the massacre in Pittsburgh, and the pipe bomber that they're still finding packages all over the country with. One of the things that I appreciate about what the work that is in your bailiwick and also with the police department are the reports on hate and bias crimes. One of the things that I've noted is I don't know whether it's an increase in those crimes or not, but that, you know, as I open up my emails and I see the messages coming from the police department on, you know, people who are attacked physically and violated, you know, verbally, that it appears to be that these incidents in this area are on the increase. And I'm not sure what the answer is to responding to them other than the work that you have already done. But I want to point out that I receive phone calls, emails from constituents who are more afraid for their own personal safety right now than I think that they have ever been before. And I think that we need to redouble our efforts as a council, as well as the Human Rights Commission, and in support of our police department to see that we do as much preventative work as possible. we're not going to be able to stop the lone individual who decides to take it upon him or herself to commit these kinds of acts. But I think that we can present the kind of community that says that we have a zero tolerance for this kind of behavior. And I am concerned that, given that we have experienced these kinds of activities before that have been targeted at our Jewish community, targeted at the African American community and our immigrant communities, that and also at our homeless community too, that we are being even more vigilant, as well as doing more of the things that we need to do to provide a different atmosphere in this community. I know that we have also had incidents and reports of graffiti and other things in schools and on playgrounds. And I will say that, swastikas on sliding boards is not okay. And so we're really going to need to come together with our public and private partners to see that this does not happen here.
Thank you very much. Look forward to the contacts in the coming year as your work progresses. I wish you well, Katie. We will miss you very much. And just following on Alan's comment, I do think, as you have at least 3 things that are kind of actionable items for council for the city to consider. And so those will come back through the course of the year as we work on those things. So I think that does give us a touchstone, and happy to work with the commission to make sure those get on the agenda. So thank you very much and best wishes in your next adventure.
Thank you.
Isn't there a motion also?
Oh, is there a motion? I'm sorry. I'm jumping. Oh, yes. Yes, please. Will you make a motion? Do you have it in front of you?
I don't have it.
It's on.
Right here.
Okay.
Oh, it's on this
It
one?
should be right on the
On the
front.
sheet.
I move to approve the Human Rights Commission fiscal year 2019 work plan.
Second.
All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. None opposed. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, and now we're making the transition to the annual report from the Police Commission.
Well, good afternoon, Mayor and councilors. I want to thank you for allowing us to update you on the progress of the Police Commission. I'm Bill Whalen. I'm the chairperson, and this is Scott Nowicki, the vice chairperson. We presented our 2-year work plan to the City Council last year, and this is just an update of our work completed so far and a look at what we'll be doing for this fiscal year. We've had a few new commissioners this year. We had Sean Shevers, Joel Aboya, and Alan Zelenka join the commission. We also lost one of our longtime members, Claire Surratt, and her thoughtful discussions will be dearly missed. I'll turn it over to Scott for the update. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us today. As Bill said, 2018 is an off year, but with everything that's going on with the various pilots, initiatives, and the community safety initiatives, we thought it'd be a good time just to bring you up to speed in some of the Police Commission's activities. Our work plan is really outlined by our Police Commission goals, and there's 5 goals, and I'll just read those quickly to you. It's to increase the communications between the police and the community, leading to a greater understanding of the preferred policing alternatives for the city. 2, identify police policy and resource issues related to preferred policing alternatives. 3, decrease misunderstandings regarding the nature of the adopted police policies, practices, and approaches. 4, provide input on police policies and procedures that reflect community values. And 5, assist the City Council in balancing community priorities and resources by advising on police resource issues. So in the work plan, we've covered a number of those things and made progress on many of them, and even completed some of those. Some of those that we're most proud of are the de-escalation policy. It's in direct support of our Police Commission goals, the Code of Conduct, and the community outreach. And that's the one that I really wanted to talk about because it's goal number one, and I think it's very relevant for this upcoming year. In March of last year, or this year, we've made a goal of 100% community outreach to our neighborhood associations. As of July, we were about 60% complete in that effort. In addition, what we found is that many other organizations and associations in the city also wanted to meet with us, and we've had a number of meetings with leadership of different organizations. So that outreach has expanded. Another area that we brought forward last year was we wanted a better communication with the city council, the city manager's office, the mayor, and the community. So in addition to that, we've had quarterly meetings with many of you here at the table, as well as the city manager's office, and we've improved that, and we'll continue to look for ways to continue those conversations. Many on the Police Commission are also serving in various subcommittees on the Community Safety Initiative, as well as the Police Commission, and helping to help with word tracks and other pieces so that the community understands the efforts being made. So what we wanted to make sure is that you knew that we were out there working hard and visiting with a lot of folks, and we're ready to help you in any way we can as we move forward in this year. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you so much. Do I have counselors who wish to ask questions, make comments? Counselor, yay.
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to thank you guys for all the hard work you do. Just since I've been on the commission, which just has not been long, the folks have really stepped up to go out into these other meetings, and they take a lot of extra time outside of preparing for the commission meetings and trying to understand, and many of them, as you guys said, also serve on other commissions. So it's been an honor to be on that commission with you guys. And I also wanted to thank Claire. She was on, thankfully, when I started and knew nothing, and she was I was so glad to have you on the commission. We're all sad to have you gone, but we're glad to have Alan, not to discount him. He's doing great. But thank you guys for all your work.
Thank you. Claire?
Thank you. Well, thank you, Jennifer. That's very kind. I didn't realize I was such a big help, and I'm happy to mentor Councilor Zelinka if he feels he needs it. It was, and thank you for all of your important work. The work of the commission, I think, is critically important, and I really appreciate the way that I feel like in the last couple of years, the commission has really come back to its core mission and giving the chief very critical and important feedback on specific policy language that we are looking at in terms of how our officers interact with the public and how they do their work. And I think we've brought a community engagement and input to that work that definitely could be more robust, and that's always going to be a challenge when there's not something controversial going on to get folks engaged. I had hoped to engage people around our new chief's proposal for downtown mobile surveillance units, and there was hardly a peep from the public at Police Commission, and some really good work that the commission had done prior to our new chief even coming on board, I think really helped inform how that rolled out because we had some good policies in place that had been scrutinized by the Police Commission. And on a personal note, I will just share that it was rather amusing. One of the last policies that the commission was going to take up just before I made the switch to a different commission and had to step down was the use of force around taser policy, which I was very involved in when I was a staff person for the ACLU of Oregon. And the officer who does policy work for us brought it to the table and said, well, this is just full of excessive verbiage, and I don't think we're going to need it all. And I got to put my hand up and go, well, I probably wrote some of that excessive verbiage, but it turned out he was actually going to keep a good chunk of, or he was proposing to retain a good chunk of what I had helped contribute to when I was not yet a member of the commission or a member of this council. So that was kind of fun and gratifying and a reflection of how the work of this commission does really stand over time and does help to continue to inform the work of our police department and to ensure that we are bringing community values that reflect our community into how we think about policy and how officers have to go out there every day to do a really tough job. So thank you for all of your dedication to this commission and to the other commissioners. We have another commissioner here in the audience right now, and really appreciate everyone's work.
Let's see, whoever, yeah, Alan, you're on my list.
Yeah, I am very new to, I think I've only been to 2 meetings. So I'm Claire Light. So I do have a lot to learn, but it's been interesting work. I wanted to thank you and the commissioners because this is very important work, especially in a time where other police departments are having a lot of problems around the country. I think this model works well to have the civilian interaction with the chief in particular and his command staff and the people working on these policies. And it is kind of the drudge work of going through policies word by word and looking at them. We'll note the parts that you wrote that we're going to send them to you in a package. But just taking like the in-depth look at the TASER policy and the work and all the work that the EPD is doing, reviewing the camera and then keep up to date on all that stuff is a good way for our citizens to understand that there is a civilian way of interacting with the police department and the command staff, including the chief, about what they do, how they do it, and that's an important part of what our boards and commissions do. That's separate from the police auditor's office and the civilian review board, which just deals with the complaints. So. This is a lot better work than that. Equally as important. So,
Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments? I'll just add my own appreciation for the work you've done. And this is a theme. I like this matrix. This table is very helpful. That sort of lays out your work plan. Very helpful to see it in that very simple form to really get a handle on how many things you are working on and what's in your scope of work. So I really appreciate both the report of what you have done and the way you have previewed what's on your table now to go forward. So thank you very much. It is really urgently important work and appreciate the time and effort you put into it. So I think that is our final meeting. Thank you very much. And we are adjourned early.
we didn't have to approve it.
We didn't have to approve that.